Okay, good evening, everyone. When we continue with Master Hsuanhua's Chanchi instructions. But before that, let's go over a few things internally. First of all, don't worry about me. It's just my throat is coughing. That means that I'm getting over it. And for the Caucasians, they objected this. They said, how come that every year you organize these things and people get sick and you don't notify us? So we notify them. It's okay. And what I'm trying to teach you is you have two choices. If you let a small bug hamper your cultivation, you're cultivating in fear. That's a very, very unproductive. When cultivate, I'm trying to teach you about fearlessness. Okay, so I understand now you're worried and so forth. We try our best to not infect you, but sometimes can't be helped. You walk out there, you go to supermarkets and you go shopping and so forth. You bring them back, and that's life. Okay, and so it's not a big deal. You're sick, we make do. We don't ask for. It's funny. I haven't uttered a word all day. When I start talking, I need some time for my throat to get used to it. So, you shouldn't be afraid. That's all I'm trying to tell you, okay? But if you're afraid, you said, if I'm going to get sick, I can't go to work and so forth. We understand, okay? But if you are cultivating here, have no fear. Fearlessness, by the way, is required for you to become enlightened. So if you practice and you still harbor this seed of fear in you, it doesn't matter how long you practice, you will find it hard to break through at all. Just a small tip for you. Okay? I'm not making excuses at all. I learned over the years, the last 19 years, this is what it takes. Okay? Furthermore, change of topic. We're getting a lot more newcomers joining us. We started years ago, and particularly went to Korea about 5 years ago, over 5 years ago. And it's like I met so many good people with great potential. And they're getting better and better. And the quality of the people who are considering joining the Sangha from Korea and from all over the world is getting better and better. I'm so impressed. I'm very pleased, okay? Before, they would not give me the time of day because I have all sorts of issues online, people slandering me, criticizing me. It's all nonsense, all hogwash. And I explain that a little bit later in the future, after the Chanchi. This is cultivation, it's not about me, okay? But the people are seeing quality. They don't see quality in me. They see quality in my disciples. That's always been my intention, is to train the next generation. It's never about me trying to become more famous, getting more temples. I gave that up a long, long time ago. Okay, why is that? I want to teach you young people, this newcomers, you're coming to me nowadays, to us nowadays. there are people in our Sangha who've been there longer than you, and therefore they use the ways. And before, I didn't say much, okay? But nowadays, I'm hoping that you will avoid making that kind of mistake, because when they make such mistakes, like my master's disciples, they are surpassed. It gave me great pleasure to train my students, my early students, on how to progress a lot quicker than the Chinese system. And let me tell you what it is. Newcomers, don't be impressed by the old-timers. Whatever they do, if they do not meet my value system, they're a bad role model for you. Okay? You should don't look at them. Look at your abbots. I have two big abbots here. One here, Weimang Temple in Massa XX, and one at DTT. I painstakingly took the time to train them. It took a lot of time, but I want to make sure that they're better than my master's disciples, and they are. Why? It's because there's one thing that you need to know, need to understand. This is a lifetime of poverty. It's a lifestyle of poverty. We're not supposed to be rich. We're not supposed to be comfortable. We're supposed to be poor and have enough to cultivate. That's all. But if you joined us, you who are considering joining us, who just recently joined us, who will join us in the future, I want this to be played to them. These are new instructions for them, for the newcomers. You chose a lifestyle that we have enough to cultivate. That's it. And I do a little bit more than that. Because I realize from my experience at my master's temples, people are nasty. They're always testing you. They tested me and I failed. Okay? So that's why I'm making adjustments for your generation. Okay? But that's why I give you, each of you, a stipend every month. What for? So that you can preserve your dignity. You never have to open your hands and ask me some money to buy ice cream because you have the urge for it. Or buy your personal stuff, okay? You don't have to justify yourself, it's yours. And if whatever necessity you have in your life, whether it's clothing, whether it's travel, whether it's health insurance and so forth, I pay for it. Because I want you to not worry about your well-being. Okay? And why is that? Because the biggest problem we have right now in the Dharma ending age, Dharma ending era, is that the Sanghas, the monks and the nuns, mistakenly think that they need to have temples. They need to build a reputation, they seek fame and profit. There's no such thing. It's not what being a monk is about. It's about you be taught to how to open your wisdom. I do a lot of work, and hopefully someday many more of you will be helping me take over as I get older. I will only be able to sit here and collect donations and not do much anymore. But it all goes to you eventually. But seriously, our purpose in life is learn how to become a better person so that we can help others. Become a better person has a standard. It's about having wisdom. To have wisdom, spiritual wisdom, practical wisdom, requires you to have a good heart. There's no other ways. Okay? And so that's why, as in your training, you'll be tested on how you would take being slandered, being attacked, being brutalized, being starved to death, being forced into physical labor to the point you break your back. But I never complained because I took it. Okay? So it's nothing compared to what Master Shinno went through, to what the Buddha went through. It's so easy. Okay, we're not expecting you to go to such extremes, but that's why we're having these special training programs will help you get there without going through extremes. It's only in American Mahayana. It's not available in any other Asian traditions. Give an example. Your fasting is uniquely American. It's funny because I wanted to learn Master Shinnoha's fasting dharma, but they refused to teach me. I repeatedly asked for it. And finally, I developed my own, which is far better than his. I'm very Americanized. You can talk all you want, but I check results. Okay? And so, it's important for you to retain your dignity because lay people will come and test you. And don't make the mistake of falling for it. They'll take you out to restaurants and give you clothes. This is why you novices and newcomers should not take any of those. Whatever you need, I buy. We have enough to take care of you. When I accept you into the Sangha, it's my commitment to you. I will take care of you for the rest of your life so that you can be a good person and develop the skills to really, really help people. That's what we're about. No one knows because it's not supposed to be praised, lauded, okay? But in that spirit, I want you to look at the people around you. And if they're plotting for their own selfish ends, manipulating old monks like me, to get into my good graces and give you special exemptions, they're shooting themselves in the foot. You don't have to do that. Okay? I want you to be proud of where you belong. We're unique, let me assure you. I will train you to build your wisdom, and I will train you on leadership, encourage you to have more culture. The whole works, not just being a monk and sitting here on your temple and expect people to come here and make offerings to you. It ain't happening anymore in the future, folks. The young ones, they're not coming to the temple to make us offerings anymore. They ask us, what is that you're doing for me? For my daughter, for my nephew. And they're right. How do we justify our existence? We never ask, why is it I do so much good and people don't come and support me? We do good because we're supposed to. Not because we do good because so that we can get support. That's nonsense. So, old-timers, people who have been around longer, this is your last warning for you. Don't think that I don't know. People will surpass you, and they have already. Because it's your fault. We never stand for that. We never stand for. There are three things, three principles I love from my teacher, my Chinese teacher. It is timeless. It is boundless. It is the three principles. We don't climb on conditions just because people like us, okay? Just because you're here, therefore people will try to get close to you and get special attention from you, have special access to you, to me, to your seniors. That's climbing on conditions. Number two, we don't seek. If you look at yourself and your actions are motivated by seeking, you're trying actually, whatever you do, has an ulterior motive, shame on you. And number three, we don't beg. We may be poor. We may be in dire needs. We never beg. It's meant for us to die. What more glorious of an end could you have? To die for a cause of goodness. That's also fearlessness. Okay? Okay, one lighter note. I've been very patient. I started 19 years ago because I realized that the students here, my students, most of them primarily don't speak Chinese. So I used the pinyin to help them, okay? To especially the newcomers as well, when they can read the pinyin and make a sound. And however, the pinyin has a quirk, has a different sound, where like the character u is u, but if in some cases actually it becomes ü. And so what I did as an expedient was to add the two dots on the character, u, on such things, in order to help speed it up for people to pronounce properly. Yes, in the past, there's some people who couldn't care less in trying to just make do instead of setting a higher standard. Okay? But from now on, now we have more Chinese people. It's offensive to them. It's incorrect to do that. It's their language. Okay? Therefore, we should fix our materials. You have the old handbooks still have the yu, the yu sound there. You can keep for yourself. Keep a bunch of them so that you can give to new people. Okay? Because when you Weno, you want to learn to pronounce it properly. It's a matter of pride, folks. It's a matter of respect of a beautiful, beautiful ceremony designed, composed by the sages. The least we can do is try our best, okay, to preserve it. So, is it clear? Okay? So, yes, here, I don't care, whatever it is. We have this yu sound here, okay? And u has nothing. And so, for you who are not interested in learning Chinese, it's up to you. You can use the old handbooks who still have this yu notation, which is incorrect in pinyin. I always knew that for the last 19 years. Nowadays, because many more Chinese, therefore, I need to show more respect for the culture. Should be more sensitive. Okay? Does it help? Any questions or comments? Yes, 3.
Thank you, Master. The pinyin system was set in the 1950s. It's very flawed. And as a result, and the foreigners can pronounce E or U. And it's too much to ask people to memorize it. If there's any phonetic system pinyin, it should help people to pronounce something easily.
Okay, that's one thought as an expedient. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Yes, in the back.
Master, we have printed a precept for the disease, and all of them are using O with W and 2 dots on top. So with this instruction, do we all going to change all of it and replace with the new book? Or what should we do in this case?
You don't have to do it right away. We transition into it. And if people object to it, they prefer to keep the old way as an expedient. I have no problems either. Okay, I leave it up to you. If you feel that it's too much hassle for you, to have to remember when it's yu, when it's u, it's only an expedient. It's not a big deal. I agree. However, if culturally the Chinese feel very strongly about it, I have no problems either. It should change. They have lots of people there. And we should show some respect to their culture. Okay? Yeah, anyone else? Yes, 9.
Yeah, Master. So today, a few of us to check this book. So as a Chinese, actually from the very beginning, I don't understand why I put a 2 dot on it, right? So yeah, we just ask Venerables. So they explained it, and our home, same thing. So that's what your master said. You for the expedient, so you put a 2 dot on it, for the foreigners can pronounce right. So from beginning, I said okay, but we asked the other 2 Chinese to check the book, so the other 2 is confused. So how are we going to check it? So how are we going to change it? So we're so confused. So that's why we check it very clearly. So that's what the slides write it on. That's Chinese tradition rules, how to use yu or wu, whatever it is. So we think we put the Chinese on, the Chinese character on, and then we should put the correctly or regular or right pinyin on. So that's why. So when Chinese people look at the pinyin, they are not confused too, right? And then even master use expedient, and then for the foreigners. So we ask a few white people. So for some of them, if they know some like French or whatever, maybe they can recognize a double dot on it, what that means. But for the others, they don't understand. You know, they don't care is a double dot on it or not. They didn't see the difference. So that's why we think we should use correctly pinyin there. That's better. But there is a master call, so what do you want to use? We just follow. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? It took me a year to learn how to pronounce it properly as a monk. So I can imagine, and you struggle a lot more. Those of you who do not wish to learn Chinese, it's difficult. Anyone else? Take a vote. Okay, why don't you take a vote? Yes.
So in the first slides, if you can go to the first slides. So there's a detail, it's not just a yu or wu sound, it's more that when it goes with, for example, ju, gu, or shi, there's no case with wu sound, that's why they don't put 2 dots there. I think this is probably taught in the basic pinyin lessons. So it probably makes, only in the case with lu, it will have both yu and wu sound. That's why they put 2 dots to distinguish them. So I feel that maybe when Apple's teaching people the basic pinyin, it could be incorporated in our lessons, so we don't create a different convention.
Okay. But Apple doesn't teach everyone.
But I think when people learn pinyin, they learn this as a basic, no?
They have no interest in learning pinyin.
When people learn it from outside?
No, they have no interest. They came to our temple because they like the ceremonies, they like the music, the music, they like the chanting, they like the samadhi power. Okay? But they're not interested in learning pinyin. You can't force them. That's the point. Yes, 3.
Yeah, even the Sangans and who are here for more than 4 years, because this rule is almost for somebody who already know Chinese. So Chinese will know there's no Zhu, it will be Zhu. There's no Chu, it will be Chu. But foreigners don't know. So I'm here long enough to see this design, and actually it is very flawed. And that was before that was the Wiley system, and also the Taiwanese and Indian, and has a different Zhuyin system.
Yeah, Zhuyin is far better, but it's not.
Exactly.
It's not based on the alphanumeric.
Right. That's
characters.
also the
That's a
difficulty.
drawback.
That's also its drawback. Basically, it's a killer. And so without naming the names, and quite a few of people in your team, and still they will pronounce Zhu instead of Zhu.
Well, let me put it this way for you. It doesn't help when a Weino consistently mispronounces. I remember an ex-nun when I taught her repeatedly, but she didn't get it. That's why I gave up. I keep on pronouncing Chuan in the 88 Buddhas repent. There's Chuan and so forth. She kept on pronouncing Chuan, and the rest of my newcomers all pronounce the same way. It's how damaging it is. Now everyone pronounces it Chuan. Because again, they're too busy, or they have zero interest in learning pinyin. So shall we keep it for the Chinese? Should keep it for everyone. Yes, 3.
Thank you, Master. American Mahayana. Mahayana is for, Maha means big. Chinese is only part of it.
Okay, so here, for example, on this slide, there should be 2 dots up here too. Okay, if you're consistent with it. It's much easier for foreigners who do not know pinyin to pronounce it, because it's frustrating. Okay, I started by memorizing the evening ceremony. And I pronounced it wrong, of course, but I came to the evening ceremony often, so I began to correct my pronunciation. Yes, in the back.
Master, for those old people, also it will be a hard time for them to learn how to pronounce this because they're going to get confused with the O and the U sound. So it's just for your opinion, for an idea.
It's true, and also told you, just bringing up another point that is less mentally taxing for people. When they read this, oh, it's a yu sound. They don't have to think. Whereas I used to get afflicted. I know especially the Korean Sunnims, they really struggle with this. How come Korean Sunnims don't speak up? What's your preference? Because you do the way, no. You non-Chinese speaking people, what is your preference?
Master, actually Weino has their own book, so it doesn't matter whether you write. Either way is okay, because in our book we...
How come they still all pronounce Chuan? What is the matter with them? What am I missing?
We don't know how to pronounce properly.
Everyone, since that woman, none. And I tried to correct her so many times, I gave up. And so now everyone pronounces John instead of Jane or Jane. And that's one thing that you have to be cognizant of. Your mispronunciation affects a lot of people. I gave up. 15 years ago, I gave up. I said, I don't care. I don't think I ever have more sanghas at all. So what do I care? And I came to Korea. That's when things changed. So, what's the conclusion? Take a vote. You want status quo or you want correct with the proper annotation in pinyin? What's your preference? JC.
Hello. Hello.
Please go ahead and sit down.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Master, it's just my personal opinion. If we are going to have a lot of Korean Muslim visitors in the future, and if it doesn't offend the Chinese people, maybe keeping the dots is much easier for those who are not our part of our communities, because, like you said, not everybody is interested in learning Pinyin, and if there are dots, it's a lot easier to pick it up.
Okay. DTT.
Master, and in my opinion, I think it should follow the correct annotation with the Chinese way, and as Sangha, we have to practice the right way. That's my opinion. Pronunciation, we have to practice that. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, one.
As it referred to Thầy, can't agree with Vimusin and Master Z. Even if with my last name and American people don't pronounce it right, I try to correct them because it sounds funny when they say it. So that's one of the reasons if they pronounce my last name wrong, I correct them right away, and they try. So I think we should, do it right, because by respect to the Chinese people, like they have to respect my last name. They cannot say it wrong. I mean, it can be close, but it can be like Nugent. That's not the right way. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
Master, even if we put the 2 dots, there's still a lot that we are missing because it's a lot of manual entering. Versus if we follow convention, it's actually it saves a lot more time regardless. Because so it seems like if we add the 2 dots, some will have it, some will not. And it seems like it's all over the place. Versus if you follow convention, you just explain it to them, eventually they'll get it.
Okay. Anyone else? 7.
Hello, Master. I think our purpose is to pronounce it right. So if we want to pronounce it right, it means we need to learn it for the beginners. And if we need to learn it, mostly it's taught by the Chinese. So I think it's only small rules of Chinese. If we want the Chinese to teach it, if we add the 2 points on the characters, it will make confuse to the Chinese when they teach it.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
네, 외국인으로서 핑잉을 발음을 할 때 사실 엄청 생각을 많이 해야 돼요. 한국말로 그냥 편하게 할 때랑은 많이 달리 저게 점이 찍혀있든 안 찍혀있든 생각이 엄청 들어가서 바로바로 인식을 아직은 하기가 쉽지가 않습니다. 그래서 어차피 연습을 해야 되는 문제라서 점이 찍혀 있으면 처음에는 좀 편할 수는 있을 것 같은데 어차피 점이 찍혀 있어도 저거를 제가 편하게 읽을 수는 없어요. 그래서 되게 인지를 해야 되는 시간이 필요해가지고 결국에는 계속 연습을 많이 해가는 수밖에 없을 것 같아서 그냥 원래 모습대로 가는 것도 괜찮겠다는 생각이 듭니다.
Master, as a foreigner, when we read pinyin, I automatically think a lot. It's different from using my mother tongue in Korean. When there's 2 dots, in this situation when there's the 2 dots, it's hard to recognize those dots, even at the beginning. And I understand we need to practice more. It's a matter of more practice. Even if there's the 2 dots, it's not able to pronounce sometimes because it takes time to recognize it. And there's a lot of thinkings going on. But what I think is maybe just stay with the status quo. That might be better for us.
그리고 한국에는 이 유 발음 자체가 없습니다. 그래서 이게 느낌이 유라는 발음하고 위라는 발음 사이에 있는 그 어떤 발음으로 들려서 저희가 이게 그 속도 지금의 그 예불 속도대로 가다 보면은 발음을 제대로 하고 싶어도 저도 모르게 유라고 발음을 하게 된다든지 위라고 발음을 하게 된다든지 그 제대로 된 위라는 발음을 내기가 아직은 연습량이 부족해서 그렇게 잘 발음이 안 되는 부분이 많이 있어요. 그래서 더블 닷이 찍혀 있어도 그거를 빠르게 소리를 낼 때 제대로 된 발음을 내기가 어려울 때가 있습니다. 그래서 단순히 점을 찍는 문제가 아니라 좀 더 이거는 그거를 음을 더 많이 연습을 하고 그거를 이제 점점 그 문자 형태에 더 익숙해지는 시간이 더 많이 필요할 것 같아요. 이건 좀 시간이 필요한 문제지 점이 더 찍힌다고 편해지고 안 찍힌다고 편해지는 문제 같지는 않습니다.
So in my opinion, for example, in Korea, we don't have that special sound. Our sound is, we have you, we have we, but we don't have between that sound, which is probably the correct sound, pronunciation. So when we do the ceremony and then keeping the same speed, it's difficult to pronounce correctly. I understand that we need to have enough practice with the double dots, and when we try to pronounce in the pace that we conduct ceremony, it's difficult to pronounce correctly. It's not only just a matter of 2 dots problem. I understand we need more practice and we need more time, and eventually it will resolve. Thank you.
I just want to add that we're printing the booklets for two purposes. One's for audiences to come, people to come and attend the ceremony. And if their intention was not to learn Pinyin, they basically will follow the Weino. So for Weino, they can take this book with the original convention that if they really want to learn, they can make an effort to put the 2 dots on their books. So to help them learn to pronounce it correctly and recognize, differentiate between U and U. That could be part of their homework. It will help them to understand instead of us change the convention across the board.
Okay. Three.
네, 제가 불칠 예불 하면서 병음으로 가장 실수를 많이 했던 사람이라고 생각을 하고 있고 그거에 관해서는 먼저 부끄럽고 죄송한 마음이 듭니다. 정확하게 해야 되는 것은 앞에 나선 스님으로서 당연해야 될 일이라고 생각을 하고요. 제 의견은 한국에서 이제 배우는 스님들이 저로서도 병음을 일찍이 먼저 공부할 기회가 없었는데요. 가지지를 못했는데 저 개인적인 게으른 문제도 있고 의무화해서 예불을 익히는 현법 스님 말씀대로 시간이 걸리는 문제이기도 하니 처음부터 병음 공부를 같이 병행하는 장치가 마련되었으면 좋겠습니다. 그런 의견입니다. 이상입니다.
Master, I participated in Fochi. Probably I'm the one who made the most mistakes during the ceremony. I apologize. I'm very shameful about that. And I agree it is very necessary to pronounce correctly. Pinyin, I didn't have a chance to study. Maybe I was lazy or whatever the reason. As Venerable Shenfa stated, we need more time, and maybe from the beginning learning Pinyin together, maybe that might help us. Thank you.
From YouTube, Zhihong says status quo because it works for non-Chinese speakers. Stefan, status quo, the 2 dots are easier to pronounce for Europeans as well. We spoke to 2 English speaking today, and they said it doesn't really matter. They don't really see the 2 dots, but the Europeans do see it. But the ones here don't see it. Chun said, I don't think Chinese people get offended by not having the dots. It's not part of Chinese culture and identity, but it's important to get the correct pronunciation right. No 1596 said, add a Y in between the letters instead of 2 dots. Goat Forest Apple said, Chinese barely need Pinyin to pronounce. They know how to pronounce when they look at the character. It's only about non-Chinese. So she votes for keeping the 2 dots.
Okay. JMT.
마스터, 저는 일단 저는 그냥 예불을 참석하는 대중으로서 제 의견이 제가 의견을 내려고 했더니 현순 스님하고 현법 스님한테 본의 아니게 반대되는 거예요. 그래도 제 그냥 의견은 얘기하겠습니다. 네, 일단 한번 끊을게요.
Master, I'd like to make a comment as a participant, as an audience to a ceremony. I think my opinion might be opposite to Venerable Shenfa or Venerable XX, Master XX.
네. 현순 스님 SS, Venerable XS예요. 네네. 네. 일단 첫째, 수행적인 측면에서 예불은 우리한테 중요한 부분이고 시간이 지나가면서 예불이 조금씩 달라지고 있어요. 그 점이 있고 또 네, 한번 끊을게요.
Ceremony is very important. I noticed that as the time goes, the ceremony has been changing.
마스터 말씀대로 완벽하게 다 할 수는 없지만 실수와 잘못된 점을 발견하면 그것에 즉각적으로 반영해서 노력하는 게 수행의 부분이라고 생각합니다. 그렇기 때문에 예불이 우리에게 중요한 수행의 한 부분이라고 생각을 하고요. 네.
So as Master said, we understand that it can't be really perfectly done. But if you find any errors, right away we correct those errors. I think that's the part of cultivation, and then ceremony is also part of cultivation.
선퍼스님 말씀대로 당연히 발음하기 어렵고 하겠지만 수행이라는 것 자체가 그렇게 내가 익숙하고 잘못된 것들을 고쳐나가고 새롭게 마스터로부터 배운 것들을 익혀나가는 것들이 다시 말하면 잘못된 것을 수정하고 새로 배운 것들을 익히는 그 과정이 수행인 것처럼 예불도 마찬가지라고 생각합니다.
I understand, like Venerable Shinfa said, it is difficult to pronounce. But being able to correct, learning new things under Master, that is important. And anything incorrect, we need to work on it. And that's the part of cultivating ceremony.
마지막으로 비판적으로 잘했네, 못한다, 잘한다 이렇게 뮤지컬적인 측면을 얘기하는 게 아니라 얼마나 예불의 준비를 하시고 어떻게 삼보를 공경하는 마음으로 예불에 서 계신지를 저희는 평가하고 있는 거거든요. 이상입니다.
So I'm not criticizing whether it was good or bad. It's about how to prepare in front of Triple Jewel for the ceremony.
Master, I didn't speak Chinese until I went to high school. I learned Chinese from Taiwan, from a Taiwanese teacher. So I learned Zhuing, and the first thing they taught was the difference was pronunciation, was the alphabet. So to me, Zhuing and Pinyin is like the alphabet. And then when I went to college, I learned simplified Chinese, and they taught me Pinyin. But because I had the basics, I never got confused. But if you don't have a system set and you put U's and double dots and some of them has it, some of them doesn't, it's actually a lot more confusing. So it's stuck in my mind, I can't erase it. So I feel that we should go with convention and just teach them from the start. So things are cleaner and then people don't keep questioning this.
JMT.
안녕하세요. 저는 마스터지의 의견에 동의하는데요. 특히 스님들은 발음에 신경을 써야 된다고 생각합니다. 제가자들은 어쩔 수 없지만 윤활을 하는 스님들은 발음을 정확하게 하려고 노력해야 된다고 생각하는데요. 이게 외국인으로서 핀인을 익히는데 시간도 오래 걸리고 어려운 걸 압니다. 저도 그 과정을 다 겪었고요. 그런데 이게 왜 중요하냐 하면 예를 들어서 이번 불칠 때 현신 스님 말고도 많은 스님들이 번갈아 가면서 윤활을 했습니다. 그런데 스님들이 발음에 문제가 있어서 집중을 하기가 어려웠습니다. 솔직히 그 발음을 듣고 웃는 사람들도 있었습니다. 제 생각에는 아마 중국인은 더 발음 때문에 집중하기 어려울 수도 있다고 생각하는데요. 그래서 스님들이 좀 힘은 드시더라도 발음을 정확하게 하려고 노력을 해주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 제가 보기에는 서주 스님의 발음이 굉장히 좋은데요. 서주 스님께 어떻게 하면 발음을 정확하게 할 수 있는지, 그리고 어떻게 그렇게 됐는지, 발음을 잘하게 됐는지 의견을 구하고 조언을 들어볼 수도 있을 것 같습니다. 네, 여기까지입니다.
I agree with Master G's opinion. I think all the synonyms has to concentrate on pronunciation, especially Wayno. They need to pronounce correctly. I understand learning pinyin as a foreigner is a very difficult job. I also went through that. For example, during the Fochi, besides Venerable XX, other synonyms pronunciation had problems. And for me, it was difficult to concentrate, and then some people even left. Maybe for Chinese, it is a lot harder to accept. I hope all the synonyms try hard to improve and then pronounce correctly. In my opinion, Saju synonyms pronunciation is pretty good. I think the synonyms need to communicate with Saju synonym, ask her how she was able to pronounce correctly and learn her skill. Thank you.
So, what's your yes, 6?
Amitofo. I have a question about, I think the pinyin, the way it's supposed to be, is good to have so that we all learn in unison of how to pronounce it. One thing I would say is I have been listening to like other temples or other like ceremonies to try to like learn how to pronounce it, especially since like to hear it in a male voice for me. And I noticed that there's like a great differentiation in how different areas of China pronounce these words as well. Or, for example, so po he is like, in the ceremonies usually pronounced so he. They don't say the p part. And so there's a bunch of other like differentiations between that. And then also when singing, there's like the vibrato that you put in your voice that we don't do either. And so for all these things, like, is it important to integrate or we just do it our way?
What we learn is that the synonyms have to learn how to pronounce it better. That's a must. Okay? Spend more time learning how to do it properly. Because if the Wayno and the assistant Wayno, the Yue Zhong, pronounce it properly, it helps the audience, the assembly, learn how to pronounce it properly. The worst part is that the Wayno mispronounce it, so it causes confusions. So, but then not all of you will be able to learn how to pronounce it properly. Yes, GMT.
네. 맞서 그 말이 나온 김에 제가 그 세레머니에 대한 질문이 하나가 더 있는데요. 이번에 불칠할 때 이제 웨이노와 그 목탁을 치셨던 분들이 제자리로 돌아오게 되면 대중들은 이제 각자 그 위치에서 가까운 자기 자리로 찾아 들어가야 되는데, 네.
Since we are talking about ceremony, I have a question about ceremony. During the Fochi, when the Weno returned back to her position, all the audience also come back.
근데 제가 예전부터 궁금했는데 질문 못 드렸는데 그렇기 때문에 사실은 그러니까 웨이너 쪽에 남자 비구 스님이 계실 경우에 그분이 가장 먼저 자리로 컴백해야 되기 때문에 그분이 중심을 잡는 게 중요하고 네.
I always had this question but didn't have a chance to ask you. So when the Weno returned to her position, the monk on her the monk side must be come back first.
그래서 저는 개인적으로 사실은 예불에 대해서 좀 더 익숙한 레귤러가 앞자리에 앉아야 된다고 생각을 해요. 그렇기 때문에 그렇게 하기 때문에 그렇게 해야지 새로 오신 분들이나 이렇게 모델링이 될 수 있다고 생각을 했거든요. 네.
So personally, I thought maybe the front seat it should be occupied by the experienced regular attendants, so they could lead the way.
네, 제가 이제 오늘의 질문은 그러니까 일단 첫째 왜 그렇게 했냐면 서서 있는 상태에서 경전을 읽거나 만트라를 해서 삼매에 겨우 들었는데 행선하면서 삼매가 깨지는 경우가 종종 있거든요. 그래서 말씀을 드렸고요. 네.
So when we do the ceremony, stand and then reading sutra or mantras, then I could get into the samadhi. But when we start to walk and circumambulate the hall, that's when come out of the samadhi.
그래서 제 오늘의 질문은 뭐냐면 앞에 대중이 잘못 이끌어서 자기 자리를 제대로 찾아가지 않을 경우에는 법당을 한 바퀴 더 돌아야 되는 상황이 있는데 그렇게 앞에 사람이 잘못 돌고 있는 거를 그대로 잘못된 걸로 따라야 하는지 아니면 목탁과 웨이노 하시는 분들이 자리로 돌아가게 되면 그거에 맞춰서 제자리로 들어가야 되는지가 제 질문이에요.
So somehow the person in the front led us wrong way, so we have to circle the hole one more time. Do we follow them or do we need to just follow the Weno?
Do the best you can. Be flexible enough not to worry too much about form. It's too complicated to explain to you, especially since you won't be around. Here, the monks and nuns are not always here, and then sometimes it's lay people leading the assembly, and therefore they choose to go in and out whenever they feel like. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. Don't get afflicted.
그러니까 제 질문은
There's no right and wrong. It's time to go back to your seat. Go back to your seat somehow. I don't care how it's done, whether it's the way it's supposed to be or the way it's not supposed to be. I can't care less because eventually you have to go back to your seat. I don't get afflicted over it. Why should you?
맞서 저는 그냥 궁금해서 잘못된 걸 같이 돌아야 되는지 아니면 돌아가야 되는 상황이라서 인지하고 내 자리로 먼저 돌아가야 되는지를 질문드린 거거든요. 예불에 대해서는 포기를 해서 번뇌는 없어요.
I already give up about the ceremony, so I don't have any affliction. I just had a question about whether I need to follow the Weno or do I just lead whomever who's reading long incorrectly.
I don't give a damn. Whatever you do is fine with me. The question shows me you're afflicted. You don't need to be afflicted. Okay, next. Anyone else? Okay, it's really no clear resolution here. Only one resolution is clear, is that all the Sunnims the non-Chinese speaking people need to learn the proper pronunciation, and we're going to give you time. Do it right for specific things, such as incense praise, such as Amitabha Sutra, and so forth. In the Buddha praise and so forth. You should be doing it right, okay? Why? Because in the future, when we have bigger Dharma assemblies, the ones that don't pronounce it right don't get to be Ueno. I'm telling you, I'm warning you. In the future, we enforce it. Right now, I don't care. There's many more things that are much more important on my training program than just proper pronunciation. You have so many problems. Pronunciation is not the most important ones. That's why I ignored it. So, since you are not convincing me one way or the other, status quo. And we can revisit this later if you wish. Okay. All right. Anyone else? How do you like the TV? 100-inch TV. Good job mounting it. Can you see from this side? Is still legible or no? You're supposed to look at this side. So what do you think? You like the TV, or shall I buy another one and mount it here, or you don't care? You don't care, I return the TV. It's coco. This is America. We don't like it, we return it. Yes, in the back.
Master, I'm sorry. When you say standard code, you mean like having double dot or still no double dot? I'm stupid about this, sorry.
I can't hear you.
When you say when we keep the standard code, meaning we are keeping the double dot still, or we don't keep the double dot? I just don't understand the word standard code, that's all.
Same as before.
Yes, Master.
Anyone else? 6.
Thank you so much, Master. I have one more question about reading the pinyin in ceremony. When we read it, is it should it be the case that we eventually learn the Chinese and contemplate the meaning of the Chinese while we recite, or is it even when we learn the Chinese, it's just important to go along with the Great Assembly and say the same sounds in the same order?
You don't need to learn pinyin or Chinese to become enlightened. This is American Buddhism. We don't care. I'm just pointing out a cultural aspect. We're going to do it in pinyin, in Chinese. Let's pronounce it properly, that's all. But those who have no interest in learning pinyin and Chinese, it's no problem. You will still become enlightened. Can't stop you. What I'm doing is I'm getting rid of the obstructions from your becoming enlightened or making progress without you knowing it. We don't need no Chinese. But if you want to become high-level Sangha who will be speaking the Dharma, you definitely need to want to learn Chinese. Were you happy just to be, for example, my Thor Corps, where I send you out and say, go kill someone. And don't tell them it's me. You don't need to learn Chinese. I need a brute. I don't need any Chinese-speaking person. So depending on your propensities, your interests, you'll be trained accordingly. I'm not stuck on either way. Anyone else? Okay. Master Xinhua share with us his Chinese culture. Excuse me. Where you get older and you're supposed to become stronger. It has nothing to do with old age. It's about your samadhi level. If your samadhi increases, you lengthen your life and you look younger. Okay? So it's not about being stronger, it's about being healthier, being more flexible. Being stronger allows us to do something beneficial for the world. This is the reason why we want to aspire to become stronger and to live longer so that we can do more good for more people. Everything has a purpose. It's not vanity. When you practice in order to look younger, to become stronger, none of that. Okay? And in the long haul, please keep this in mind. This life of ours is very short. But what you're doing right now is planting the seeds of greatness for yourself so that this life has meaning and that you're happier. What's the point in doing this if you're not happier? I don't subscribe to the Chinese style and said, I give up everything. That's Hinayana. That's why I call them Hinayana, Mahayana. They don't get it. If you don't learn Chinese, you're Hinayana, Mahayana. No two ways about it. Have the big picture. Don't be so short-sighted and go for small gains. If you only shoot for small gains, that's what you're going to have. That's all you're going to get. Small gains. Okay? I feel sorry for them because their teacher never taught them that. I'm very blunt. Earlier, I chided a few people in my organization already. Okay? Climbing on conditions, shame on you. And I'm very patient because I see how others who were newer will have already surpassed them. Because when I teach you about these things, you have to pay attention. You don't pay attention, what did you do to deserve my training you more? Huh? You think I must? No, I don't. Do you pay me? You must do something to deserve it. It's not about old age and young age. It's about I don't know why I keep talking old and young. So Chinese. It's true. When you're older, you realize that in your mind you're still young. Only problem is the body does not cooperate anymore. What's this Chinese culture thing here? Why would he talk about being old? Chinese people, help me out. What's the message here? Is there something I'm missing? I'm too Americanized. I don't identify with this. Does it mean he's wrong? It's just a disconnect with me. 3.
Thank you, Master. So in the traditional Chinese culture, being old, you deserve to be respected. And so there's even, so basically he's criticizing people being 倚老卖老. And sort of saying, I'm old, so I deserve to be served, to be respected. So Master Xuanhua said, do not think you're old, and then you deserve to be served, to be respected, to be doted upon.
Okay, that's Chinese culture, Asian culture. Yes. Anyone else? But here in America, what we're not telling you, what society is not telling you is you are a burden. You're old and you're a burden. We need to put up with you. Like your children need to put up with you. That's all they're all thinking. But life is coming to an end. You can't live forever. You have a time limit. Make the best of it. Don't be like me. Don't be like me, where I spent 20 years of my life climbing uphill. Okay. So, you don't even need to worry about old and young. You know, he's talking to very low-level Caucasians. And he has to go through old and young. What is that called in Chan? Discrimination. One, you have to look at a person as old and as young. How about just looking at everyone with respect? It doesn't matter who they are. From our perspective, for old people, instead of dwelling on the Chinese style and said, I'm old, I paved my way, therefore you must respect me. For that, I have this to say, to tell you. How much money are you leaving me before so that I can respect you? This is very American. Yes, 3.
Hello, Master. 我觉得是按照中国的文化来说，就是说喜欢说自己老了，只是得到更多的尊重，只是一方面。但更重要的呢是，中国传统的中国是一个秩序感非常强的社会。其实，说我老了，一方面呢是会得到尊重，另外一方面呢，他也是认为很多的这个社会资源应该让给年轻的一代，很多的机会应该让给年轻人，所以他更侧重的强调的是某种秩序。
So, Master, I feel that when in Chinese culture, to say that when you're old, that you need to be respected is one aspect, but it's more that in Chinese culture, they're more orderly and more hierarchical. So it's trying to say that the old people should yield the resources and opportunities to the younger generation.
Really? Yield the younger generation? That's your culture? Is that true? The rest of you? Is that how you feel? That's the first I heard of it. Yes, JMT.
맞서 지금 논의되고 있는 토픽이 아닌데 잠시 후에 할까요? 아니면 지금 해도 될까요?
Master, it's a different topic. Should I speak now or later?
Later. Anyone else? I don't think you met too many old people. I met too many old people. They don't yield. They're very judgmental. They're so judgmental. They say, you don't understand anything. You take things for granted. I struggled so much. I made it this far. You ain't seen nothing yet. You don't know what life, how hard life is. I can't think of anyone, including masteryonghua, who was prepared to yield. I just my thinking. I don't know. Okay? But my experience has been, I've talked to a lot of old people, Asians, Caucasians, men, women. They don't yield. They're very, very attached to who they are. And they're so scared. Because, inside, the body's not working anymore. And they can't tell you. So they're very unhappy. And they're so frightened. They're so frightened of death. There's nothing they could do about it. Why would they yield to young people? They're trying to hang on to life. So my attitude is that don't worry about old and young. Worry about doing your best to have a meaningful life. That's all. That's all that matters. Whether people like you, love you, it won't last forever. After you die, it's a new ball game. Don't be so short-sighted and put all your eggs in one basket this life. You should plan for next life. Okay? That's Buddhist wisdom. Okay? So this is what he used his example, being old and young, to illustrate the point. Everything is made from the mind alone, meaning that it's a very shallow way of explaining this concept of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Everything is made from the mind alone. Okay? It's more than just old or young. But this world, actually, is created from your minds. All the equipment there, created from your mind. Everything in this world is created from your mind. Okay, but you see, this tells me that his students didn't have much potential. This is as much as they can absorb. That's all. But I'm stretching it to illustrate this very powerful Buddhist wisdom, in that everything is created from the mind alone. The mountain, the rivers, the cars, and so forth. And that's the kind of wisdom you will be able to unfold in your practice Mahayana. So it's important to have this big picture, so don't settle for the small gains. All right? Still talking about old. It's been a long time in this world. But life is over in a blink of an eye. Yes, go first.
Master, I have a question that I've been wanting to ask, but I feel foggy when trying to ask it. I don't know how to ask it, so I guess I'm just going to ask it as, is the best way for us to stay on track with everything that you'd like for us to do as your disciples? Would the most important thing be to come to the lectures, to come to the temple?
Come again?
When it comes to for us staying on track with everything that you're teaching us and everything that we can do following you, what the number one, most important thing to do so that we stay on track or do as best as we can is to come to the temple and come to the lecture?
Yeah, wouldn't hurt.
I guess my question is that like the number one thing that, or is it, will we stay on track as long as we can make it to the temple, I guess?
Maybe. You want a guarantee from me?
I guess, but no, not really.
You want guarantee, you have to buy insurance. We do have insurance division. We're open-minded. This is American Buddhism. Okay? Talk to Lloyd there. He will give you a quote.
I think somebody is asking, how do we buy insurance?
Buy insurance? We take monthly payment plans.
Okay, I have insurance then.
You don't need it. Okay.
Can I follow up real quick? Also, how do we, because I consider myself already being here for 5 years, so I'm a little bit older, I guess, even though I suck. How do we keep our standards not so low and try to be as good as the new disciples coming in?
You feel you changed?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Did you ask do I feel if I've changed?
Yes.
Definitely. Mostly from my mistakes.
So what else do you want?
Yeah, I guess I should be happy. Should be grateful.
Yeah, continue. Stay the course. And you can find more time to do it. Do more of other things. You know, most people, especially the Asians, they come to the temple and they peek out for decades. They peek for decades. The guy in front of you, after following the Vietnam temples, Mahayana temples, okay, when I first saw him in San Jose, he was first dhyana. I taught him meditation. And he's the kind of guy who just sleeps with everyone. He goes to you because, I try you, I give you a try. And after 3 months of learning meditation from me, he reached second dhyana. He really never believed. After that, I told myself, good luck to you. You ain't gonna be able to make any more progress. Several years later, he came to Lu Mountain Temple. Sure enough, he's still second dhyana. You've been 5 years with us? You think you're higher than second dhyana? Yeah, you are. He spends decades studying, practicing, because he had to run away from his wife.
Lên đĩa cho lên sóng. Kia ngày mai lại nghe nữa rồi.
Stay the course. We stop here tonight. Thank you.